I can't believe that we're finally at this point where this countdown has begun, and it seems to me that she's going to retire at the U.S. Open, because she has, I believe, committed to competing in the U.S. Open in New York. I wish I was going to be able to see her compete. I just wasn't thinking that this was going to be potentially be her last tournament. But she did. The reason I believe that this is going to be her last tournament, the U.S. Open, is because she did say that she wants to kind of take everything in for these next few weeks and really just embrace the moment, enjoy the moment. So you're talking about a few weeks. Just common sense for me that tells me that by the end, that once she's done with the U.S. Open tournament, she's gonna hang it up for good. So it's a rough day for me, because honestly, there's been a lot of great tennis players over the years, but for me, the main reason why I have been a fan of tennis in my lifetime is because of two people, Venus Williams and Serena Williams. Obviously, even though this segment is about Serena, there's no Serena without Venus. You know, both of them came in around the same time. You know, Venus is 42. She turned pro in 94 when she was 14. Serena turned pro in 95 when she was 13. And for people that are a lot younger than me, they might not remember just how dominant and great Venus was before we started to view Serena in that same light. I remember when Venus was ranked number one in the year 2000. I remember when Venus was, winning, multiple Grand Slam titles. I remember her being known for her ace and her serve. That serve was deadly. So obviously, because of things like illness and injury, her reign did not last as long as Serena's, because I believe Venus has less than 10 Grand Slam titles. Serena has 23 to date. But I can't applaud one without applauding the other, obviously. And just their whole story, their whole backstory is just so amazing. The fact that they grew up in Compton, California, and when they were young, their father, Richard, was there helping them develop their talent on those public courts in Watts, in Watts and in Compton. So, man, I'm telling you, it's just, I can't believe that we're finally at this point. But she's had a great, great, great career. I know there's going to be a debate in terms of who's the greatest of all time, in terms of women's tennis or just tennis as a whole, because I think that she could compete with the men as well. Absolutely. I don't even refer to her as just, as not just, but as a women's athlete or women's tennis player. I look at her as an overall, she's just a great athlete, one of the greatest of all time, whether we're talking about men or women. And she's truly going to be missed. And it's interesting how this happens. You just don't think. It was like this with Floyd. For me, it was like this with Floyd, Kobe Bryant as well, where you think you have more time than you have as a fan to be able to go and watch these athletes play or compete in person. I'm blessed that I was able to see Serena compete. I was actually able to see her and Venus compete in person in doubles, and then also with Serena in singles. And that was just a great experience for me. I never got a chance to do that with Kobe Bryant. I never got a chance to do that with Floyd in terms of seeing them up close and personal compete at the highest level. I was able to see that with Tiger Woods, another one of my greatest, athletes of all time. And speaking of people like Tiger Woods, one thing that is so special about Serena, when you think about her in her heyday, when you think about her at her peak, this was an athlete who, she didn't just beat you on the court. I feel like she really got into the mind of her opponents before they even walked out their tunnel to take the court and compete. She really has that intimidation factor. She had that intimidation factor, just like Tiger did when Tiger was at his height in golf. The last thing that a player wanted to have to do is be grouped with him on a Sunday when he's wearing that famous red and black. You did not want that problem because you knew that Tiger was gonna put on a great performance. You had no chance. And Mike Tyson was like that. You know, when I talked to my pops and my uncles and my grandfather about Mike Tyson in his heyday, that he beat these guys before they even came out there because he just beat them psychologically. And then when that bell sounds off in the ring and he's in his corner and his opponent's in the corner across from him, and it's just you two. It's no more. It's not the media and these microphones and your trainers. It's you guys having to compete. And go blow to blow. That's just a different situation. And it's like that with Serena. I remember seeing her at the US Open in New York. And what was so special about that is you can just see it. You can see that intimidation factor kick in. You know, you can just Serena was a force to be reckoned with. When she's on one side of that net, and her opponent's on the other side, and now it's just you two, and you have to compete and bring your best against one of the greatest of all time. I could just see the impact that she had on her opponents before they even threw the ball up for the first serve. So I can't believe that we're at this point now, and selfishly, I wish that she kind of gave us an exact date and said, okay, my farewell tour is going to be, I'm going to be out here for 1 more year or 2 more years. Obviously, I think the pandemic, if it wasn't for the pandemic, we would have saw more of Serena. But also something I have to say about her too, and I understand she has other endeavors. Her and her sister have really gotten into other businesses outside of the game of tennis. And over the past several years. So I'm not surprised that she has some other things just business-wise that she wants to continue to explore and grow in. And then, of course, her family. Serena, you see the relationship she has with her daughter. And, she made it clear that she wants to, that's one of the things that she wants to do is expand her family. And just the mere fact that she won a tournament, I think it was 2017. Whenever she was pregnant, in the beginning of her pregnancy, she won a tournament while she was 2 months pregnant. So to win a tournament while you're 2 months pregnant, then to go through the rest of the pregnancy, have your child, I think she might have even had some complications and then dealt with some things, after the fact, and still came out here and competed and was dealing with some injuries and things like that in recent years. Just the mere fact that she has, experienced those things and still could get herself back in shape to compete at the highest level. That's just something that is men. And listen, I'm a man. I love male sports. I follow male sports. I follow men's tennis and everything like that. Have a lot of respect for Nadal and guys like him and Federer. But that just doesn't compare. That's just something that we cannot relate to. We can't relate to that part. A woman being an athlete, competing at the highest level, and also giving birth in the process, and then coming back and getting herself back in shape to compete at the highest level. I think about Beyonce when I sat there and watched that special with my wife. I watched the special of Beyonce preparing for Coachella. Some years ago, I think it was a few years ago, and just seeing how she had her, I think she had her twins, and after she had the twins, she had to really get herself in tip-top shape, put herself through like a training camp, like a boot camp, a training camp, to be able to get herself back to a place where she could put on a performance. Her and a host of other, talented individuals put on a performance like we saw at Coachella, and I think they did that 2 nights back to back. So I could sit here all day and talk about the power that women possess, especially in my case, having a black mother, black grandmother, aunts, cousins, is just different. It's one thing to be a woman, but being a black woman in this country, in this world, and being able to have the success that Serena and Venus Williams have had, it almost seems like an impossible feat, an unbelievable feat. And I'm just glad that I was able to grow up in this lifetime to see them. So for me, this is just for me, and there's definitely some bias there, but for me, Serena and Venus are two of the greatest tennis players that the sport has ever seen. They're the two greatest that I've seen in my lifetime. And Serena, for me, she's the greatest tennis player that I've been able to see and follow her career in my lifetime.